Let's make my tropical punch table runner using only a single charm pack. Also, feel free to expand on this pattern if you would like to turn it into a larger quilt size. Now with your charm pack, you are going to select 16 5-inch squares and subcut them into 2.5-inch squares. You will get 4 2.5-inch squares per each 5-inch square. Then with 24 5-inch squares, you are going to trim them down to a 4.5-inch square. Now you can either trim just the edges or place a 4.5-inch square ruler in the center and then trim all the way around. But either way, just trim them down however you would like. But once everything is cut, you're going to select 4.5-inch squares and create a large Scrappy 4-patch block. Now sew your blocks together to form a row, and then lastly sew those rows together to complete a 8.5-inch square quilt block. You're going to repeat this step until you've made a total of 6 Scrappy 4-patch blocks. Then with your 2.5-inch squares, you're going to take 4 2.5-inch squares and sew them together to form a smaller Scrappy 4-patch square. And this block will measure a 4.5-inch squared once you complete it. Then you'll just repeat this step to every single 2.5-inch square until you've made a total of 16 mini 4-patch blocks. Then with those mini 4-patch blocks, you are then going to sew 4 of them together to form a larger 16-patch block by sewing all your blocks together to form rows. And then lastly, sew those rows together to complete an 8.5-inch square block. Now you'll just repeat this step until you've made a total of 4 16-patch quilt blocks. Now that all of your quilt blocks are made, you will place your 16 patch squares on the ends with your large Scrappy 4-patch blocks in the center within a 2x5 block layout. Then as always, you'll sew the blocks together to form rows, and then lastly, sew those rows together to complete your table runner. And here is what my Tropical Punch table runner looks like all finished. And as for the backing, I am using leftover yardage scraps that I have pieced together within the same collection. And as for the thread choice, I am going with Rhododendron by Glide Thread. And I do hope I pronounced that correctly. And here's what my quilt looks like all quilted. And I've actually designed another new edge-to-edge quilt pattern, which I will have linked down below in the description. And one charm pack will yield you a 16-inch by 40-inch table runner that you'll be able to whip up within a few hours. Now I do hope you have enjoyed today's tutorial. If you could, please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you could be notified for your next amazing quilt project.